What do you think it would take for us to break the framework of having to deal with the two major political parties? What do you think it would take for us to actually say, you know what, we're drawing the line here. We have to have a third party candidate running for a major election?
Well, the problem with our democracy is it's democracy. You get what you vote for or what you don't vote for. And the fact that there's more people that are willing to vote on and pay attention to Dancing with the Stars and texting in their vote or American Idol, that until people put down the remote and until people pay attention and actually do something, we're not going to get it. Because if you have a monarchy or a dictatorship, the way the system is there and it's dictated regardless of what the people want. In our system, the people vote by going every year and casting their ballot. The problem is that there's not enough people casting their ballot, and there's not enough people involved in the system. And everybody wants to complain about there not being an alternative. But there's very few people that actually say, all right, let's do something about this. And they don't. They sit there, they watch TV, and they complain every election year. Oh, the both parties are the same. Both parties are the same, so I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to stay home and vote. And then not vote, rather. I was talking to this girl the other day that I work with, and she said, you know what, I'm not going to vote. And the whole system's rigged, so why bother? I'm not gonna vote. It's the whole thing's a sham. And I'm sitting there, and as I'm having this conversation with her, I've noticed that in addition to doing her work, she spent the last 30 minutes looking at new Nike shoes on the internet, and how she was going to spend the next $100 that she had on her paycheck on a pair of shoes. And I wanted to shake her and say, this is why the system is rigged. Because people like you are more interested in getting the next pair of Air Jordans than doing anything about democracy. You'll sit here and you'll complain about the system being rigged and why they're both the same, but you won't actually take the time that you just spend there looking at how you were going to spend $100 on a pair of Nikes when you could have been sitting there doing something to create an alternative.
When a couple of bills got tossed around Congress last year, and you've probably heard of them, SOPA and PIPA.
Right.
Do you think that there is any connection between those two springing up and Occupy happening at around the same time, just with the amount of influence social media has on us today?
Oh, absolutely. Because I believe the coincidence was it was too much of a coincidence to be a coincidence. The timing was pretty obvious, and I believe the social media has absolutely exploded in the last few years. I believe they said during the 2008 debates, the amount of social media traffic around that was maybe a quarter of what it was this year. And social media is growing, and government wants control of that. That is the one medium that so far they have not been able to control. They've been able to infiltrate it. They've been able to bring in, dummy accounts and people to troll pages and derail stuff and monitor people and try to identify who people are. And the beauty of the internet is that there's a certain degree of anonymity to it, a certain degree that I've managed to enjoy myself so far, where You can use a pen name like I use. My pen name is a takeoff on a very popular Sacramento wine. But you can use that without having to put your real name behind it. And in our country, we've enjoyed a certain freedom of speech for many, many, many years. Off and on, it's been pushed back and forth. The Supreme Court's gone up and down on it, but the First Amendment guarantees us that right. And now we've had bills like this where you still have that, they want you to have that right to free speech, so long as it's free speech that you agree with. And they say, well, we're trying to stop child pornography, or we're trying to stop piracy. Well, again, it's not about that, because we already have laws on the books against private internet. For internet privacy, for intellectual content, against child pornography, against violent content that doesn't need to be on the internet. That's stuff that's 99.99% of people can agree is disgusting and illegal and should not be there. But they have got to the point now where they want to dictate to you that free speech, that, hey, we don't mind your free speech. Oh, who are you voting for on Dancing with the Stars? Hey, you've got that right to your free speech, so long as it's putting money in our pockets. But when people like me or others start saying, hey, guys, there's more to TV, and you need to be over here paying attention to this, or, oh, hey, remember that whole war that we were bragging about? Yeah, don't pay any attention to what that private Bradley Manning did, where we totally had that thing covered up, and then he went ahead and leaked that video on the internet. That's the kind of stuff that they're trying to shut down. And I hate to sound like a tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist, but my page has been targeted a number of times where I've had pictures that I've created, funny pictures no less, that mock the KKK, who the vast majority of people can agree upon are a vile, nasty, backwards group of people. And I've made 2 images, and those are the only images from my page that have ever been removed, or ones that were mocking the KKK. However, I can see pages that take will post the most violent, sexist, nastiest, homophobic things, and they stay up, regardless of how many people report them. And you report that kind of stuff on Facebook and says, well, Facebook believes that, there's a right to free speech and we don't censor stuff. But yet I can take something that makes fun of some of the most radical, racist, vile people, and that apparently they have a problem with. So there's definitely censorship, SOPA, PIPA, and all of that. There's laws in place to prevent the stuff that they say they're trying to prevent.
Do you think
there doesn't need to be more laws? What it is a slow march towards censorship. You can see similar stuff being enacted in other countries. There's been protests in Bahrain, which has had almost zero coverage. The only way that I even get to keep up with it is via Twitter. And I believe that stuff like SOPA and PIP and all of that, they would like to shut that down as well. But, those were stopped. But I can guarantee you that a few votes here and there that go the wrong way in this election, and you can bet that'll be those laws will be pushed on through, because it's about censorship and it's also about money. And not only does that work to stifle free speech and dissent, but it also is one of those pushes to push out independent media, independent reporters, independent radio stations. They can all be affected theoretically by things like that, and it pushes back towards more corporate centralized control of media. And we wouldn't have seen stuff like this 10 years ago, when not everybody had access to the internet. But now that everybody has access to the internet and everybody has access to information freely available on your phone, on your iPad, on your laptop, it's cutting corporate media out, and they desperately want control of that back.